Hi, PerspectiveWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Monday, September 14th. A lot to talk about with respect to the Atlantic Basin tropical scene. There are actually 5 different tropical depressions or greater on the map right now. 2 depressions, 2 tropical storms, and 1 hurricane. The last time there were 5 tropical depressions or greater was September of 1971. In that case, actually, there were as many as 6 on the scene simultaneously. We could end up with 6 in this particular scenario, as there are a couple other waves out there in the Atlantic Basin. Let's focus in on the storm over the Gulf of Mexico, Tropical Storm Sally, as well as Hurricane Paulette. First of all, Paulette actually moved over the island of Bermuda in the overnight hours. The eye basically encompassed the whole island at one particular time. It is now beginning to move away from Bermuda. Conditions should improve during the day in Bermuda as this system, indeed a hurricane, pulls away to the north and northeast. Again, it has maximum sustained winds of 95 miles per hour over Bermuda right now, but beginning to pull away to the north and east. Meanwhile, in the Gulf of Mexico, we have Tropical Storm Sally right here with maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour. It is moving slowly. It has slowed down from yesterday. We talked about yesterday the fact that it would tend to slow down, and that's always a problem, obviously, whenever you have a hurricane or a tropical system slowing down. It increases the time period for some heavy rainfall, increases the chance for substantial rainfall, and indeed that will be the case here. It looks like from southeastern Louisiana all the way into the western part of the Florida Panhandle. Right in this region right here, we could get anywhere from 1 to 2 feet of rain over the next 1 to 2 or 3 days or so, as this system will be a slow mover. Now, one of the things to note here, you notice this black line right here. This represents the 30-degree latitude line here. And it's not unprecedented that tropical systems tend to slow down or even stall out near that 30-degree latitude line. We typically have trade winds in the tropical region from 30 degrees south, and then you get a little north of there, you're getting into the westerlies. In this area in between can result in some what has been termed as doldrums over the centuries. Many ships have encountered weak wind field right around that latitude of 30 degrees or so, give or take a few degrees. And indeed, we had Hurricane Harvey a couple of years ago stall out right here over the Houston area, dumping some tremendous rainfall. Well, this indeed is slowing down. It won't necessarily stall out completely, but it will slow down enough to have the rain just pile up. Looks like it'll move in this fashion here over the next 12 to 24 hours or so, probably right into southeastern Louisiana. And the worst of the rainfall typically takes place on the right side of the storm track. The storm surge itself typically worse on the right side of the storm track if it's an incoming storm, as it will be in this case. And again, this particular region from southeastern Louisiana to the western part of the Florida Panhandle looks like it may end up with anywhere from 1 to 2 feet of rain over the next few days. Once it moves ashore, it'll probably move over northern Alabama, the remnants, and then into the Carolinas, most likely producing some heavy rainfall from the south central U.S. into the Carolinas. At the same time, a strong cold front will be barreling towards the east coast from the northwest, and it looks like that front will arrive maybe Thursday night, Friday time frame in the mid-Atlantic region, probably preventing the heaviest of the rainfall from the remnants to make it into the mid-Atlantic region, but we'll have to continue to monitor that over the next several days, over the next few days. Indeed, right now it looks like the heaviest of the rains from the remnants will go into the Carolinas. We'll have to watch that. That cold front will arrive in the mid-Atlantic region with some shower activity late Thursday into Friday, and then it will usher in the coolest air mass of the season so far for the upcoming weekend in the mid-Atlantic region, in the northeast U.S., and temperatures over the next couple of nights will actually be quite cool as well, but even cooler over the upcoming weekend. So all kinds of activity right now in the tropical Atlantic basin, with 5 different systems that are tropical depression or greater at this current time. Well, let's take a look at the latest infrared satellite imagery loop here from the College of DuPage website. Obviously, actually 3 things pop out right now. There is a tropical wave tucked in over the southwestern part of the Gulf of Mexico. It'll stay in that area over the next 24 hours or so. And here is Tropical Storm Sally, just under hurricane status here. Again, maximum sustained winds of 65 miles per hour. It certainly can reach hurricane status over the next 6 to 12 hours or so as it continues slowly to the west-northwest, moving right now at about 8 miles per hour, probably headed towards a landfall in the southeastern part of Louisiana early on Tuesday. Again, pretty healthy looking system, a little bit of shear causing some of the convection to blow off to the south and east. But again, it's not far away from reaching hurricane status here, and that could happen certainly before landfall and perhaps in the next 6 to 12 hours or so. Meanwhile, out over the Atlantic, we have Paulette. Actually doesn't look quite as healthy as compared with Sally at this particular time, but indeed it passed over the island of Bermuda in the overnight hours with maximum sustained winds of as high as like 90 or 95 miles per hour. It is now moving off to the north and east. Conditions should improve throughout the day today in Bermuda as this thing starts to pull away to the north and east towards cooler waters of the open North Atlantic. But here we go. This is Tropical Storm Sally, perhaps on the verge of becoming Hurricane Sally later on today into the evening hours. Well, let's walk through last night's operational run of the GFS at 6Z. We're looking here at the surface forecast maps. The night's cool high pressure system over the Great Lakes, and again, the next couple of nights over the Great Lakes in the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S. will actually feature some of the lowest temperatures so far this season. Don't be surprised to see the upper 40s in some suburban locations, let's say to the north and west of Philadelphia, to the north and west of New York City, not far from 50 degrees in some of the outlying areas around D.C. Here on this map right now we have Tropical Storm Sally over the northern Gulf of Mexico, moving very slowly to the west-northwest, about 8 miles per hour. And we have Paulette now over Bermuda, but again starting to pull away from the island of Bermuda. Now let's move forward here. Notice this system will be a very slow mover over the next couple of days. Here we are now, tomorrow morning, 24 hours from now, still situated much the same region now, maybe over the southeastern part of Louisiana, and all the way into tomorrow night. It's still in that general vicinity, and again, maybe 1 to 2 feet of rain coming from southeastern Louisiana across the southern part of Mississippi and Alabama into the western part of Florida's panhandle. Here we go all the way into Wednesday morning. Now finally starting to pull on out to the north and east. Doesn't necessarily stall out completely, but it could get down to maybe 5 miles per hour or so at its slowest movement point in time here. And again, 8 miles per hour right now. And here by Wednesday, it'll start to move, curve to the north and east, probably right over central or northern Alabama, and head on towards what looks like a rendezvous with the Carolinas here later in the week. Now, at this time, we have this strong high pressure system, another one. This is a new one here, moving into the northern plains, and a very strong cold front barreling towards the eastern seaboard here later in the week. We're talking Thursday night time frame, and that frontal system will likely produce some showers in the Mid-Atlantic region come late Thursday night time frame, but also help to kind of inhibit the chances of any heavy rainfall from the remnants to make it all the way up into the Mid-Atlantic region. They'll likely douse the Carolinas with some decent rainfall Thursday time frame, but that cold front system just pushes everything out of here by Friday, and ushers in the coolest air mass of the season. Here we go now into Friday night, Saturday. We have this very strong high pressure system sitting over southeastern Canada come Saturday morning. Probably highs confined to the 60s on Saturday, even in D.C., let's say D.C., Philadelphia, New York City, the coolest air mass of the season so far, following the passage of that strong cold frontal system in the Thursday night, early Friday time frame. So again, we have a couple of cool nights coming over the next couple of nights here in the Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S., and then even colder air comes in for the upcoming weekend. In fact, let's focus in on the temperature pattern here over the next several days by looking at the 850 millibar temperature anomalies. This is for this morning, Monday morning here, and we have a chilly air mass over the Great Lakes, over the southeastern part of Canada. Actually turns cooler from between today and tomorrow. We'll have high temperatures, maybe 75 to 80 degrees in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor, closer to 70 degrees on Tuesday as kind of a secondary push of cool air arrives in the overnight hours. And again, some suburbs could see the upper 40s by early tomorrow, and high temperatures closer to 70 degrees on Tuesday afternoon. And right now we should be around 79 or 80 degrees in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor here for highs. And then we'll get a little bit warmer later in the week, but look at this. Next air mass is even more expansive of a colder than normal air mass here by Thursday night. That strong cold front coming from the northwest of the southeast comes barreling through the Mid-Atlantic region, ushers in some of the coldest air yet this season for later Friday, Friday night, Saturday, right through the upcoming weekend. And again, high temperature on Saturday likely confined to the 60s, way below normal for this time of the year in the D.C., Philadelphia, New York City corridor. Well, a lot going on with a lot of cool air over the Great Lakes, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast U.S., and of course a lot of tropical activity all the way from the southwestern part of the Gulf of Mexico to the west coast of Africa. 5 different systems now have reached tropical depression or greater status, 2 of which are tropical storms, and 1 hurricane, the Hurricane Paulette, now pulling away from Bermuda. Tropical Storm Sally may reach hurricane status over the near term, and then will just pound the northern Gulf region from southern Louisiana to the western part of the Florida Panhandle with perhaps as much as 1 to 2 feet of rain as it slows down over the next 12 to 24 to 48 hours or so. That's it for now for PerspectiveWeather.com. I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.